Have you ever noticed that when you truly start to change, people around you get uncomfortable? They rarely say it outright, of course. Instead, it comes through subtle jokes, advice disguised as concern, or that awkward silence whenever you speak about something deeper. But beneath these reactions lies something very simple and powerful. Your growth threatens their comfort zone, and nobody enjoys being forced to confront their own complacency. Maybe you're experiencing this right now. You've begun thinking differently, acting differently, even questioning ideas you once accepted without hesitation, and suddenly you feel isolated, misunderstood, or judged. The thing nobody tells you clearly, yet nature understood perfectly, is that this discomfort is the cost of developing a genuinely strong mind. Not just ordinary strength, but a profound, intense strength that can make others uncomfortable, even afraid. Because without saying a single word, your newfound strength exposes the weaknesses of those still living their lives on autopilot. Why does this happen? It's because a truly powerful mind poses a threat to collective mediocrity. Nature knew exactly what this meant. When you decide to think independently, craft your own values, and discard the comforting illusion of ready-made truths, you become dangerous. Dangerous to the system, dangerous to the people around you, and especially dangerous to your former self. So let's be clear. This video isn't for everyone. It isn't for those who are comfortable or those looking for easy answers. It's for you, the one who's tired of being held hostage by your own insecurities, who feels you're on the edge of breaking internally, and who is ready to build something that nobody can destroy. A mind that no one can manipulate. A mind that terrifies precisely because it refuses to bend. If you're ready for this journey, one that is lonely, challenging, but absolutely transformative, then stick around. Because what nature has to teach you will challenge you deeply, yet it also holds the power to set you free. After this, you'll never think the same way again. Nietzsche wasn't just a philosopher. He was like a surgeon of the human soul. He had the courage to look directly into the abyss of existence, not just to stare at it, but to dive into it head first. And it's exactly there, in that abyss, that inner chaos so many avoid, where he found the source of true strength. According to Nietzsche, transformation doesn't happen in peace or stability or comfort. It happens through pain, chaos, and turmoil. He famously wrote, "You need to have chaos inside you to give birth to a dancing star." This isn't just poetic imagery, it's a psychological insight. It means that if you truly want to build an unshakable mind, you must abandon the childish idea that it can be done through comfort, cheap motivation, or positive affirmations alone. True strength is born from confronting suffering without running from it, from shifting your mindset from wishing life were easier to wishing you were stronger. Think about the times you've grown the most. Was it when everything was going well, or was it when you were shattered, lost, directionless, forced to rebuild yourself piece by piece? Nietzsche believed suffering isn't an error in existence, but rather its fundamental driving force. He didn't romanticize pain. He understood it as a crucial tool. If you can change your relationship with pain, with failure, with loneliness, you start shaping something incredibly rare, an indomitable spirit. And it's precisely this spirit that begins to disturb the world around you. While most people run from chaos, you'll learn to move comfortably within it. While others desperately seek normality, you'll create greatness. But this transformation demands a brutal break from everything you've ever been taught about strength. True strength isn't about wearing a fake smile or pretending everything's fine. Real strength is about enduring the unbearable and emerging on the other side, changed and more dangerous than ever before. Nietzsche understood something crucial here. Chaos alone isn't enough. Without an inner center, an anchor, chaos can destroy you. That's why, in the next part of this video, we'll dive into one of the most pivotal moments in Nietzschean philosophy, the moment when he declared the death of God, placing the full weight of existential responsibility on you. Because when there's no longer a comforting sky above, It's within yourself that the universe must be born. If what you're hearing resonates with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps more than you know. When Nietzsche declared, "God is dead," he wasn't celebrating. He was sounding a dire warning, a warning many still fail to grasp today. What Nietzsche killed wasn't a divine figure itself. It was the comforting illusion that someone, somewhere, is watching over us, that there's a pre-established plan or purpose handed down from outside ourselves. The death of God marks the end of excuses, and that can be terrifying. Because before, it was easy to outsource responsibility for your life, comforting to believe everything happened for a reason, that suffering was part of some divine plan. Nietzsche violently tore away that veil. He forced humanity to confront a brutal truth. You are alone. There's no predetermined meaning. Now, you are the creator. This realization is where building a truly powerful mind begins. Many people collapse when confronted with this reality, because facing chaos alone, without guarantees or excuses, is overwhelming. Yet those who manage to endure this moment without breaking begin forging an unshakable consciousness. With the death of God, Nietzsche pushes you into the abyss of radical freedom. No longer can you follow commandments. You must create your own values. You must surpass yourself rather than simply obey. This marks the birth of absolute autonomy, but along with autonomy comes incredible weight. Everything now depends solely on you. There's no absolution, no external salvation. Either you build yourself or you sink. Yet, here's the hidden truth. The freedom that terrifies you is also your greatest source of power. The moment you truly grasp that nobody is coming to save you, a fire ignites within, compelling you to rise even as you bleed, to think and act for yourself. Not because someone said it's right, but because you've decided it is. In this decisive break from existential crutches, Nietzsche lays the groundwork for something even more extraordinary. The emergence of a new way of being, a human who lives beyond the herd's rules, who doesn't seek approval or permission. This individual creates their own morality, exceeds their own limits, and lives as a creator, disturbing the weak because they must now see themselves as they truly are. Nietzsche called this new being the Übermensch, the overman. And if you want to build a mind strong enough that no one can break it, you must understand how to become this figure, someone who lives above societal conventions, guided only by their own will to power. In the next part, we'll explore exactly what it takes to become this Übermensch and why so few people are capable of reaching that height. Because the stronger your mind becomes, the lonelier the journey grows. Are you ready for that solitude? Are you ready for that Nietzsche didn't believe humanity evolves passively or slowly. Instead, he advocated for radical transformation, a kind of creative destruction necessary for true evolution. That's why he developed the concept of the Übermensch, the overman. But let's get clear about this. The Übermensch isn't some comic book superhero or mystical figure. It's something far more real and yet infinitely more challenging. The Übermensch is someone who's broken free from all that holds ordinary people back: guilt, blind obedience, herd morality, and the desperate need for approval. Think about what this means. The Übermensch doesn't seek acceptance. They don't ask permission to exist. Instead, they write their own internal laws and follow them relentlessly, even if that pits them against the entire world. And it's precisely this fierce independence that makes their mind unbreakable, because their strength isn't built on others' expectations. They don't need external validation or approval. Their motivation comes entirely from within, fueled by an intense desire Nietzsche called the will to power. This isn't about control over others. It's about the power to shape reality in your own image. The Übermensch doesn't adapt to the world, they impose meaning upon it. Instead of seeking comfort, they pursue greatness. Instead of asking, "Am I allowed to do this?" they ask, "Is this worthy of who I am?" Can you see how this shift in perspective changes everything? When you begin viewing yourself as a creator rather than a follower or servant, every aspect of how you think, act, and feel transforms completely. But there's a catch. Becoming this kind of powerful individual requires genuine sacrifice. You must let go of parts of yourself that crave validation, acceptance, and belonging. You must endure the pain of not fitting in, of building your identity entirely from scratch, without guarantees, without applause, without the comfort of the crowd. And honestly, most people just can't handle it. They give up before they even truly begin, retreating to the familiar safety of pre-made beliefs, dogmas, and societal rules written by others. Because the path of the Übermensch is undeniably lonely. Nietzsche himself lived on the margins of society, misunderstood, called mad, isolated from the very world he tried to free. But it was precisely in this isolation that he found true freedom. And this is a critical truth you must understand. The stronger your mind becomes, the further you naturally drift from the masses. The higher you rise, the more you unsettle those around you. Creating the Übermensch within yourself is perhaps the most brutal and transformative process you'll ever face. It requires demolishing everything that isn't authentically yours, every false idea society imposed upon you, every belief rewarded by a culture that prizes obedience and punishes authenticity. Only after this painful destruction can genuine construction begin. But this new self isn't built amidst the noise of the crowd. It's built in silence, solitude, and withdrawal. It's crafted in the deep isolation that separates the genuinely strong from those who remain weak. And this solitude, this essential loneliness, is one of the most neglected yet powerful aspects of the journey. Because here's the blunt truth. To become truly unshakable, you must learn to walk alone. If this message resonates deeply with you, you'll find even more clarity in my ebook, Beyond the Shadow. It explores Carl Jung's core ideas and offers tools to help you understand yourself deeply. The link is in the pinned comment below. There's one fundamental truth no one openly discusses about building real mental strength. The stronger you become, the lonelier you feel. It's not because you intentionally isolate yourself, but rather because the world no longer knows how to handle you. Nietzsche described this clearly. He spoke of the free spirit, someone who breaks away from common morality, rejects easy truths, and thinks independently. Inevitably, this type of individual distances themselves from the herd, and that distance often hurts. Yet, pain is necessary for growth. Genuine growth requires space, and you simply cannot evolve while still tied down by others' expectations. Most people live their lives inside an invisible herd, where every thought and action is quietly monitored by social expectations. You've probably grown used to walking within this group, thinking like the group, and feeling secure because you're surrounded by others. But Nietzsche proposes the exact opposite. He violently tears you away from that comfortable conformity and tosses you into the desert. In this desert, there's no applause, no praise, and certainly no guide. There's just you, your doubts, your fears, your trauma, and the overwhelming desire to run back to safety. This is where the true test begins. Because what do most people do when confronted with this level of solitude? They retreat. They hide behind their old masks, pretending they don't feel or think deeply. They go back to the safety of conforming. But if you truly want a mind that nobody can break, you must stay. You must endure the silence that reveals who you genuinely are. Nietzsche said it best. The individual must always struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will often feel lonely and sometimes scared. But no price is too high to pay for possessing yourself. Think about this, possessing yourself. It's perhaps the rarest and most powerful achievement anyone can attain. Because when you truly own yourself, no one else can control you, dictate your worth, or drag you down. But this self-possession carries a steep cost, the inevitable loneliness that comes from living authentically. You'll lose friendships, you'll be misunderstood, labeled arrogant, strange, or distant. They'll try to force you back into the mold, calling you cold, insensitive, or worse. But this is precisely the price of refusing to be domesticated, refusing to live as a mere reflection of others' needs and expectations. And here's another, raw truth. If you can't handle loneliness, you're not truly ready for freedom. All genuine freedom requires abandoning emotional crutches, comfortable illusions, and superficial relationships. Nietzsche saw solitude as a privilege, a battlefield where your true self finally has the space to emerge. But this strong, free mind doesn't merely walk alone. It begins seeing what others can't. And this clarity brings a second inevitable challenge, confronting mediocrity head-on. Because once you become truly strong, the collective mediocrity around you senses it and reacts. And that's exactly what we'll tackle next, the hidden dangers of collective mediocrity. Because society doesn't punish those who blend in. It targets those who dare to stand out. Are you ready to face this? Are you ready to... Nietzsche didn't fear tyrants or oppressive rulers. Not primarily. Instead, he feared something much subtler, far more insidious: collective mediocrity. It's the invisible force that quietly levels everyone down, punishing those who dare to think differently, rewarding obedience, and cleverly disguising cowardice as virtue. According to Nietzsche, true tyranny doesn't come from above, but from beside you, from the crowd itself. It's the silent demand from those around you to remain small so they don't have to grow. And this is exactly what happens when you begin to truly stand out. The sharper your mind becomes, the firmer your spirit, and the more uncomfortable your mere presence is to those who are content to remain average. It's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's because you're doing something incredibly rare. You're breaking molds. And society despises mold breakers. Collective mediocrity simply cannot tolerate individual brilliance, because your brilliance illuminates the shadowy corners of ordinary existence. Nietzsche called this phenomenon slave morality, a morality created by those unable or unwilling to achieve greatness. In their resentment, they twisted values, turning strength into arrogance, ambition into selfishness, independence into cold-heartedness. Through this inversion, they created a moral system designed specifically to protect the weak and condemn the strong. But don't mistake this for compassion. It's born purely out of resentment. The weak don't truly wish to be uplifted. They want to see the strong fall. That's why, when you start to liberate yourself, when you genuinely begin standing apart, you'll face attacks. Sometimes these attacks are overt, other times subtle, looks, silence, irony, but the message is unmistakable. Come back down here. You're making us feel inadequate. And in a strange way, you are, without even trying. Just by being authentically yourself, you unsettle everyone still trapped in conformity. Nietzsche knew most people live paralyzed by fear, guilt, and blind obedience. Anyone who openly questions this conformity becomes an immediate threat. But be cautious. Mediocrity doesn't attack openly. It strikes quietly with numbers, consensus, repetition. It tries to make you doubt your path, convincing you that you're wrong for not fitting in. It uses social shame, exclusion, and pressure to get you to lower your head again. This is precisely when most people give up. They simply can't bear the pain of being seen as strange, difficult, or arrogant. But Nietzsche would offer another perspective. He'd call you necessary. While the world spins around recycled ideas, manufactured desires, and comfortable illusions, it's precisely the strong individual who creates enough discomfort for genuine transformation to begin. Your difference, your refusal to conform, is the spark necessary to ignite change. But understand clearly, it's also the very reason you become a target. To think freely, to live autonomously, to exist authentically. These are acts of profound rebellion against collective mediocrity. And like any rebellion, this one requires preparation. It demands weapons, not physical, but mental. And this brings us to the heart of everything we've discussed. the extremely high cost and extraordinary reward of becoming unbreakable. You've made it this far in the video, and that alone separates you from the vast majority. Most viewers would have clicked away at the first moment of genuine discomfort, or tuned out when they realized this content wouldn't stroke their ego. But you didn't. You stayed because something within you resonates with this message. You sense this isn't just a casual invitation, it's a call to action. It's a challenge to let go of comforting illusions and face reality head-on. Here's the hard truth. Developing a mind so strong it frightens people isn't merely a choice. It's a profound act of renunciation. You'll lose superficial friendships, opportunities demanding submission, and the ability to remain content with mediocrity. But in exchange, you gain something invaluable: integrity, clarity, and presence. You begin noticing just how deeply others sleepwalk through life. Your lucidity frightens them, your firmness unsettles them, and your absence becomes louder than the presence of most people. This kind of strength doesn't come from external sources. It's not taught in typical self-help books, nor earned through empty affirmations or motivational cliches. It's something you dig deep within your soul, in silence, through nights filled with internal struggles, choices no one else ever sees. It's the outcome of an endless internal war between who you were and who you are becoming. Because here's the truth. Truly strong people are not those who've won. They're the ones who continue fighting long after they could have comfortably stopped. Nietzsche didn't want followers. He wanted to provoke internal earthquakes. He wanted you to stop crawling for approval, stop begging the world for meaning, stop seeking in external systems what you can only build yourself through: blood, sweat, and self-awareness. He wanted you to become dangerous, not violently dangerous, but dangerously rare. Rare enough that your mere existence forces others to look in the mirror and confront everything they're desperately trying to avoid. Now, I invite you to do something powerful, something that will make your journey real. Write in the comments below a truth you've been hiding, an opinion you've been afraid to voice, a thought you believe isolates you, but truly represents who you are. Claiming your voice publicly like this is part of the journey. It's how you declare that you will no longer bend. If this video resonated with you, don't stop here. The next video continues this journey and is perhaps even more critical. Because if you've made it this far, you're not watching out of mere curiosity. You're here because something within you has already begun changing profoundly. So keep going. You're not alone, you're simply ahead. And yes, being ahead is frightening, but it's also liberating. Because ultimately, the price you pay for building an unbreakable mind is enormous, but the reward is something nobody can ever take away from you. Complete ownership of yourself. Ownership of yourself.